So today we're going to be discussing cofunctions. We're going to focus on angle A for now. Do remember SOHCAHTOA, which is the mnemonic device to help us remember the trig functions, the three basic trig functions. And the three basic trig functions are sine of an angle, which is equal to the opposite, in this case A, because it is across from angle A, over the hypotenuse, which is C. The cosine of an angle, which is equal to the adjacent, or B in this case, over C, the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, and then the tangent, which is in this case for angle A, will be equal to the opposite side, which is A, over the adjacent, which is B. So these are the standard three trig functions. There are also three additional trig functions that we're going to see now, just because it's part of our Delta Math assignment. They're not that relevant to the lesson we'll be doing on Tuesday. The reciprocal function of sine is called cosecant, which is equal to the, because sine is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse, the cosecant is called the reciprocal function of sine and is equal to the hypotenuse over the opposite. The reciprocal function of cosine is called secant. So the secant of A will be equal to C over B, which is the hypotenuse over the adjacent. It's a little confusing because sine goes to the one that starts with C and cosine goes to the one that starts with S. So that's the way I remember. I just tell myself I do these backwards as a reminder as to which one is reciprocal to which. And the last one is called cotangent, which is the reciprocal of tangent, which is going to be B over A, which is the adjacent over the opposite. So cosecant is the opposite, the reciprocal of sine. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine, and cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. Not relevant really for what we're doing right now, but do notice that there are three different cofunctions. The first one is that sine is reciprocal to cosine. I'm sorry, these are cofunctions because sine and cosine have the word co in them, so that means these are cofunctions. One is sine and one is cosine. Cosecant and secant are also known as cofunctions, and tangent and cotangent are also cofunctions. All right. So these are going to come up in your Delta Math assignment, so I just wanted you to know which functions are the cofunctions of the others. But they don't match up 100% the way we'd like them to, because not all the reciprocal functions are cofunctions to each other. Only tangent and cotangent are. So I'm going to erase what we have here for a moment, and I'm going to show you how we use cofunctions and how they are useful. All right. So we were just saying that the sine of angle A is equal to its opposite, which was A over the hypotenuse, which is C. And its cofunction is going to be the cosine of the opposite angle, or the other angle. So in this case, B. So from B, the cosine of B, the other angle in our triangle, will be equal to the adjacent side, which is A, over the hypotenuse, which is C. Do notice that the sine of A and the cosine of B are equal. That means if I told you that the sine of 30 was equal to the cosine of x, there is a particular angle that x has to be in order for this to happen. And since this only happens when these are in the same triangle, that means that this angle and this angle are in the same triangle. So if angle A was 30, angle B would have to be 60. So we can say that 30 plus x equals 90, because the sum of these two angles have to be 90, because the third angle in the triangle is 180. So if you're given two cofunctions and they're equal to each other, they have the same fraction when you use their sine and their cosine, then the sum of those two angles will be 90. So if the sine of 30 is equal to the cosine of x, then 30 and x have to be equal to 90. If, let's say instead of being 30 degrees, this angle here, this angle was 50 degrees, that would make this 40 degrees. So if I said that the sine of 2x was equal to, I'm making x 25 in my mind here, the cosine of x plus 15, we can write 2x plus x plus 15 equals 90. 2x plus x is 3x plus 15 equals 90, making 3x equal 75 and x equals 25. And when I would plug this in, I would find that one of the angles in my triangle is 50 and the other angle in my triangle is 40, and those add up to 90 degrees. And that would match this triangle, who would have a sine of a over c and a cosine of a over c. And that's pretty much all there is to cofunctions. So it's true if I gave you, instead of sine, it would also work if I gave you secant and cosecant. It would be the exact same procedure if I gave you tangent and cotangent. Mostly you're going to be seeing sine and cosine on our assignment tomorrow.